Hey everybody, another tutorial here. This one is on a website called GitHub, and this is going to be a website that we're going to use to collaborate with one another, especially around the code that we're writing for our project. And so it's pretty simple. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see what I'm looking at. You should have gotten an invitation email to join. Let's see here. I'm presenting. You should have gotten an invitation email that looks something like this, saying that you've been invited to join at Lower Research Organization. And so go ahead and press join at Lower Research Organization. Yes, we've been invited. I would like to join. And so once you have joined, you should be able to see the different repositories that this organization has. And so there are two repositories, and you can think of these as like overarching projects. So here are the two big projects that this organization is working on. And so inside of the Interns 2020, you'll find all of the code and everything that we're working on for this project. But I also created another project just to kind of give you some examples, kind of show you how this all works. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, and I know that it's a little bit confusing because these are technically called repositories, and there is a different thing for projects, which we'll get to later. But you can just think of this repository as like a collection of code, a collection of resources for some objective. So this is just an introductory repository. There's not a whole lot in here. You can see there's just a couple different items. Now, one thing that there should always be in every repository is this Readme item. And you can see that it's actually displaying right down here. I could open it up as well. And that would open up this Readme. And it just should tell you what the repository is. And so this is just an introductory repository helping you get familiar with all of the GitHub and other computer stuff that we're doing this summer. So that's what a repository is. The main thing that it has, besides kind of instructions for what the repository is, which is this README, is it should have some other files. And if you see a .ino file, you should know that that is an Arduino code file. So .ino just means something that's coded for Arduino. And so if I open up this file, you can see that this is code for a Arduino program, LED Blink. This is one of the first programs that we ran this summer. And so if I want to work on this code, the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of get it installed onto my Arduino, test it out, make sure it runs. And so it's a little bit annoying in that you can't run this code straight from GitHub. Like there's nowhere to press upload to my Arduino on here. What I need to do is I actually need to copy this code, and I need to put it into something that can send this code to the Arduino. And if you're using the online web editor, you would go to create.arduino.cc, and you can open up your online web editor. And so if we wanted to test out this code, I might just create a new sketch. This is a place where I can test out this code. Maybe I'm going to rename this sketch LED Blink Code Test. All right. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to Control A, select everything in here. I've already copied the stuff from the other side, so now I just need to paste it into here. And if I select everything first, when I paste, it's going to delete everything else. So Control V is going to be paste. And now what I have is basically I have copied this, all of these, this code into my web editor. And now I can upload this to my Arduino. So let's give that a shot. Let's see if we've got it all set up right. Hey, it looks like we've got everything complete. You can see here My code is running on my Arduino. It's causing my light to blink. So that code is working. And we're going to talk about editing code later on. Let's go back to presenting. So say I wanted to make some changes to this code. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of GitHub, is that you're not just, it is a place where you can go and you can download code. So you can download code either from one of our repositories, or there's thousands of other repositories that people have stored their code in, and you can go and you can find code in GitHub. So it's a great place to find code. You can open up these files, copy the code over to your whatever your IDE is, the thing that you're actually able to upload your code to your Arduino with. And so let's see here. Let's go back to, we're going to talk about editing this code next time, because it's a little bit more complicated, because after I edit it, let's say I was working on this code at the same time as somebody else. So Jonathan is also working on this code, and maybe we end up changing different stuff. The process of getting this code back into this master file, you can see that this branch is called the master branch. That process is a little bit complicated. We're going to go into that tomorrow. But for now, just know that this is Lower Brule Research. This is our main page. These are our repositories. So these are the main places where we are storing code. For today, you're just going to go into our introductory repository, make sure that you know how to open up code, you know how to copy it over, you know how to get it onto your online IDE, you know how to test it out. Because that's really the first step of working with code, is just making sure that you've got a working version and you've got it, on your computer somewhere where you can test it out and work with it. The other thing I wanted to show you is that there is a different repository. These are Interns 2020 repository. And so this is where our code is going to be saved. Also inside of here, you'll see that there's a project. And so this is another way to kind of organize stuff. I know it's a little bit confusing that there's repositories. That's kind of basically, you can think of a place to save code and other information. Then there's projects, which is really a place where you can go to get organized on what needs to be done, what's being worked on. And so this is just like our sprint boards or our product development boards, exactly the same thing. We have these items that are in the to-do list, in progress, and done. But the items here are going to be related specifically to the code that we're working on. And so this is a way for us to collaborate just on the code that we're doing. And so these are issues. If I open them up, I can see just kind of the name, I can see the description of the issue, and I can see the assignees. So I might want to assign myself to this issue. Or maybe I want to assign somebody else to this issue. And I could go to this issue and see the full details of it. Maybe I'll open that up quick just so you know what that looks like. Here's what an issue looks like. It's just a way for us to leave comments, connect about a specific issue. This is a way for us to collaborate together in order to solve some problem. So here we are. This is the projects tab. And so maybe I'm going to start working on incorporating a button. I need to modify the code to send the heart rate info to the LCD screen. Maybe I'm going to start working on that. And so that's going to be in progress. And so this is just, like I say, a way for us to stay organized. It is very similar to your product development board. As things come up, maybe there's new issues that come up. And so maybe there's something else that you want to add. And so you can add another to-do note. You can turn that into an issue. There's all sorts of things that we can do to collaborate in this project. I just wanted to show you kind of what GitHub is, what repositories are, how to go in, how to copy code from a repository, how to test it out, what projects are, and then what issues are inside of projects. And so this is a bunch of new words, a bunch of new terms, but you can think of this, think of GitHub as a place where we're going to collaborate to create the code for our project. And tomorrow we're going to get into some of the more specifics about how to actually edit that code, how to then bring that edited code back, make sure it's not conflicting with other things. There's a whole process around that, but we'll get to that tomorrow. Just for today, make sure that you can download your code, copy it over, and test it out to make sure that it works. Explore those projects, explore those issues, and we'll see you tomorrow.